Hello and welcome to today's post and topic Love Tank. And the reason why I title it Love Tank is because we all have this tank inside of us that is fueled by love. And actually, the word derived from this book that I read by Gary Chapman, Five Love Languages. And I received this book from many years ago from someone for Valentine's Day. And this was even before I was married. So I was a single parent. And I also had a coworker who said that Dr. Gary Chapman saved her marriage. And so when I didn't really understand what she meant by that, she brought this book and she told me about the five love languages. And so I began reading on it and I realized that how this plays an intricate part in when it comes to relationships. And so it's even though we'll be talking of how we can speak our children's love language, but also when it comes to us as individuals, we also have love languages. We also have a love tank. And so, in order for us to even be able to recognize our children's love languages, we need to also recognize our love language first. And so, if you don't have this book, I encourage that you get this book. It's very beneficial to even just knowing the type of love language that you speak. So that way your significant others could be aware of the type of love language that they need to speak to you. One thing that I realize also is majority of the times, 99% of the times, when we are speaking a language, we're not speaking really the other person's love language. We're speaking our own love language to that person because this is how we want the individuals to relate or to communicate with us. And so you can also go on his website as well and take the love challenge. And it's pretty much a profile. And it's called the love language profile to find out what your love language is. If you don't know already what your love language is, you can go on there and to find out and to identify what your love language is. And then you can also learn about it so then you are able to recognize those love language as it pertains to your spouse, your significant other, before moving into, trying to identify your children. And I think it's important for us as parents to identify where we are first. We have to be able to identify where we are and what fuels our love tank. And then also whether our love tank is empty or full. And so some of us are actually even running on low fuel and sometimes empty. And we find out like, okay, well, why isn't somebody speaking my language? Why isn't he saying the things I want to hear? Or why isn't this happening? And it's because the person might not even realize what their love language is to be able to even be able to identify what their love language is, and then also to be able to identify what your love language is in order to communicate. Because knowing the love language is the key to communication, to effective communication. And so therefore, we need to understand that about ourselves and also to help and understand that about our children. Because going forward, it is about planting and investing in our children. And we have to also recognize ourselves in order to help them as well. And so as we talk about today and just talking about the love tank, the other postings to follow will go over the different type of love language and even the practical side of how to put into practice their love language, recognizing it in activities and strategies, in fueling their love tank. But really today, I just wanted to talk about what love tank is. And it is really those 5 love languages. Now, we each possess a love language, but in children, their love language can change over time. Our love language can change. So even though we might have one stronger than the other, we might also possess other love languages as well that we might not use on a daily basis, but they are there. And so when we are aware of the love language overall, and even understanding that there's 5 and the 5 different love languages that exist, we're able to move back and forth and be able to also identify and recognize when that other love language is being spoken that is not necessarily our own. And as far as it comes to pertain to our children, it's the same thing. They do possess a love language that might be more evident, but there are other love language that they also do have. And so those are the love language we do also need to feed and fuel, so that way their love tank is full at all time and they're not running on low. Children grow from love, and it just goes back to just like when you're planting a seed. You water it, you care for the plant, you love it, you talk to it, you nourish it. It's the same thing with us investing in our children. We have to nourish them in many different ways, and knowing what their love language is and fueling their love tank help them to grow, because that is how they grow. And so at this time pretty much, we are focusing on their love language. Sorry, I'm just distracted because my phone just started ringing. But Gary Chapman also co-authored with Ross Campbell, and they both wrote a book, The 5 Love Language of Children. So I encourage, I haven't completely read this book in its entirety, but I encourage that this get into our library as parents. It's just a nice book as a resource book to always know and recognize and understand the love languages, and then also there's activities in there and examples of what this love language look like in action that you can follow along. There's also like a game in there as well. And so there's a lot of good information in here. And so as we go along together on this topic of the love tank, we will talk about different ways and strategies, and then also highlight, and I can share with you what has worked for me, and how to fuel your children's love tank, our children's love tank. And it talks about, in here, love as children grow, and the need for love is basic to all other needs. Just like they need to be fed, just like they need to be clothed, just like they need, to stay warm and protected and sheltered and feel safe and secure, they also need to be loved. And so loving your child and knowing how to love them effectively also helps them to grow and to have a balanced life and to grow into successful and adults. And so therefore, pretty much love, just like how the seed needs soil to grow, well, love is that soil for your child to grow. And so we want to make sure that we are speaking their love languages on a daily basis. And it also, let me honestly tell you, it helps when it comes to being firm It helps when it comes to discipline in them, and it helps to come when you're putting down rules. That when you are able to speak your children's love language, they're not thinking that you're doing this to be mean mommy or mean daddy or being mean nana, mean grandma or grandpa. You're doing it because you love them, and they grow to understand that, and they grow to trust because their love tank is now full. And so therefore then they know that because they come into the understanding that you're doing this because you love them, and they don't feel that your love is compromised for them because their love tank is full. And so we want to focus on filling up their love tank, fueling their love tank in various ways, depending on what type of love language that he or she or your child or children speak, or our kids speak, or what have you. And then that way their love tank is full, and they're better to receive discipline and correction and guidance and nurtured, from us as they grow into adults. And we want them to be, to have a balance when they are adults. And so we are going to, for the next couple of postings, we will focus on the love languages that our children possess. But today we just want to talk about what is love tank, and that we each have one, and we want to be able to fuel it and fill it up, and to make sure that the seed that we're planting is in that soil that's called love. Take care, and look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to subscribe below so that way you can be a part of this journey. And please, please share. The only way we can help other parents and other children out there is by sharing this information and helping all our children to grow, and because they are the children for tomorrow, and we want to prepare them and guide them and steer them. Thank you. Take care.